The room froze in a single breathless moment, the kind that splits a life cleanly into before and after. Glass walls gleamed under harsh white lights, faces blurred into judgment and power, and at the center of it all stood a single father with tired eyes and a steady hand, lifting a small glowing card that no one expected him to have. Just seconds earlier, a billionaire heiress had smirked with absolute certainty, convinced she had won. Now that smirk trembled, cracked, and began to fall. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and quiet courage that changes everything, take a second right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this matter because people like this exist. The man had arrived that morning with the same invisible weight he carried everywhere. He was a widower and a single dad, raising a 7-year-old daughter who believed her father was the strongest person in the world. He wore a simple dark shirt, sleeves rolled up not to look confident but because that was how he always worked. His job that day was supposed to be temporary, a short-term contract inside one of the most powerful tech conglomerates in the country, owned by a woman born into wealth so vast it insulated her from consequences. She had built a reputation not just for brilliance but for cruelty disguised as standards, and employees learned quickly that eye contact held too long could cost them everything. The title of heiress clung to her like armor, and she wore it proudly. The first warning came early. A glance, nothing more, when she entered the room in red confidence and inherited authority. The man looked up instinctively, not with desire or defiance, just awareness. That was when she noticed him. Power sharpened her smile as she reminded everyone present that respect was obedience and curiosity was weakness. Her threat, thinly veiled as humor, settled into the room like smoke. Peek again and you are fired. No one doubted she meant it. What she could not see was that the man had already lost more than a job once in his life. Years earlier, he had lost his wife in a hospital corridor that smelled of disinfectant and broken promises. He had learned how fragile stability was, how quickly comfort could vanish, and how survival sometimes meant swallowing pride. Every paycheck since then had gone toward rent, school lunches, worn-out shoes replaced one careful purchase at a time. He did not fear unemployment the way others did. He feared disappointing the small girl who waited for him at home, who believed her father always told the truth and always stood tall. The meeting escalated. Investors leaned forward. Executives shifted. The heiress began to perform, dismantling a project proposal with sharp logic and sharper arrogance. She thrived on control, on knowing that everyone in the room needed her approval to breathe easily. That was when she made a mistake. She mocked the unnamed consultant who had flagged a security flaw in her flagship system, dismissing the concern as amateur paranoia. She announced, with satisfaction, that no outsider understood her empire better than she did. The man felt something settle inside him then, heavy but clear. Weeks earlier, after his daughter had fallen asleep clutching a library book about stars, he had stayed up late reviewing code for an independent watchdog group. He had done it for the money at first, then for the challenge. What he found had terrified him. A vulnerability buried deep in the architecture, one that could expose millions. He had reported it quietly, anonymously, assuming it would be handled. It had not. Instead, it was now being ridiculed. His hand moved before fear could stop it. The card he raised was thin and luminous, authorized access encoded in light. The room turned toward him as if pulled by gravity. He did not speak out loud. He did not need to. The data unfolded across the screen behind him, undeniable, precise, devastating. The silence that followed was not empty. It was full of realization. The heiress felt the ground shift. For the first time in years, she was not the smartest person in the room. The smirk she had worn like a crown slipped into something raw. Her power depended on perception, and perception was changing. Investors saw risk. Board members saw liability. The man they had dismissed as disposable stood unmoving, not triumphant, not angry, just resolved. What they did not know was that he was thinking of his daughter's backpack by the door at home, patched at the corners, and the way she waved from the window every morning. He was thinking of the promise he made to her without words, that doing the right thing mattered even when it was hard. Especially when it was hard. The fallout was swift. The meeting ended in controlled chaos. Legal teams whispered. Executives recalculated loyalties. The heiress retreated behind professionalism, but something in her eyes had changed. She had built her world on dominance, not trust, and now she saw how fragile that foundation was. The man was offered a chair, then an office, then a permanent position with terms that acknowledged his worth. He accepted not with pride but with relief, knowing stability meant more than status. In the weeks that followed, the company transformed in small but meaningful ways. Transparency replaced intimidation. Accountability softened arrogance. The heiress, forced to confront the limits of inherited power, began to rebuild herself not as a ruler but as a leader. It was not redemption yet, but it was a beginning. For the man, the change was quieter. He walked his daughter to school without checking his phone. He cooked dinner without counting every dollar. One evening, as they lay on the floor looking at the ceiling, she asked him why he always tried to be brave. He told her that bravery was not loud, and it was not about winning. It was about doing what you could live with when the room went quiet. If this story is touching something in you, if it reminds you of a moment when doing the right thing felt risky but necessary, please take a moment to like this video, share it, and let us know in the comments that you felt it too. Before this story ends, we have a special request for you. Comment the word courage below if you believe quiet strength can still change the world. The billionaire heiress never forgot the day her certainty cracked under a raised card held by a man with nothing to lose but his integrity. And the single father never forgot that sometimes, standing up does not require a voice, only truth held steady. The room where it happened would host many more meetings, many more deals, but none would matter as much as the moment when kindness, courage, and responsibility intersected. Because power can silence, but integrity echoes.